Cruisin with the Coaches, presented by Peretti Family Dealerships. Women's basketball coach Ashley Langford alongside in a car that is way too nice for me. This is a Range Rover Sport from Peretti. I was told we need to bring this back, but I wasn't told when. So we needed to get, so we're going to be driving around for a little bit.
I like it. It's not too nice for me, I'll tell you that.
No, I mean,
right up my alley.
I mean, then we should switch, because I'm terrified about harming you and everyone else in the city here with this car right now. So, all right, Coach, I always like to start with this, doing these bad boys here. This is not carpool karaoke. We don't have the rights to do carpool karaoke. But if we did, what are you singing right now?
You know, I got a lot of songs that I like, and I can't really just pick one. So anything Usher, I love Usher.
Okay.
Just went to his concert a couple weeks ago.
You did.
It was awesome. It's a show.
I've heard it. It is quite a show.
The whole 2.5 hours, I'm singing every song. You know how sometimes in a concert, you might there's a couple songs where you rest. Nope, no resting for him. So I like Usher, I like Beyonce. We could do a little bit of rap, old school with Mace. I like Total. So I got some things, maybe 50 Cent. So we'll see.
When did you know that coaching was eventually going to be in your blood?
I really didn't know until my senior year in college, and I was thinking I was just gonna go into corporate America. Undergrad, did business. Thought, hey, I'll go get my master's, I'll go get my MBA, and then just work in corporate America. And Coach Stockton actually was like, hey, you should think about coaching. And I was like, I don't want to coach. I don't want to do that. But she put me in this program with the WVCA. It still goes on right now. So you think you can coach program, you go to the Final Four, you kind of learn a little bit from coaches about what they do on a day-to-day basis. I had an opportunity to be a GA at Auburn and work with the women's basketball team there and get my MBA, so it was like a win-win. And I didn't really realize until I was there, they're like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. I was working with one of these players on the team, and she was having a tough time finishing around the hoop. And the coaches were like, hey, Ash, see what you can do with him. Do with her, and I was like, all right, well, we'll try. So I just worked with her, and one of the next games, she gets in the lane, she makes an and one. She kind of smiles over at me on the sideline, and that was the moment where I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Helping her reach her goal. All right, I'm still competitive, but I saw so much joy in her, and I said, this is what I'm supposed to do.
I've talked to a lot of coaches, and the answer always seems the same, or at least in the ballpark of when whoever you're coaching takes what you told them and is successful with it. That's everything.
Yeah, it's a light bulb.
What did Ashley Langford, the player, be like? Or what is Ashley Langford, the player, like compared to Ashley Langford, the coach?
I think I'm similar.
Yeah.
Obviously. I don't think you can ever take the player out of me. I'm still very competitive. I'm still really intense. I think as a player, I wasn't as patient. Now as a coach, I have to be very patient, and I have to work on that every day of being patient. I also think as a player, I was really super intense and didn't always maybe celebrate the small wins, right? And realize that obviously when you're an athlete, you're a high achiever, you're always thinking about how can I do better and not really celebrating the times that you do well, right? So as a coach, I really try to do that with our players and even myself and our staff. Well, hey, let's celebrate the small wins. But everything else is really the same. Still super detailed as a coach. I was detailed as a player. I have a lot more fun on a daily basis than I did, I think, when I was a player. I was very locked in, trying to be the best I could be and not really seeing the bigger picture all the time.
When do you remember first picking up a basketball?
I was probably, let's say second grade, maybe a little bit before that. So what is that, 6, 7 years old? I lived in a cul-de-sac, and one of my neighbors, she actually babysat me, but her brothers had a hoop outside, and they would always be over there, him and his friends, and they were just shooting around, and I was outside, I was outdoors. This is back in the day when you used to go outdoors, right, and play. So I was like, hey, can I shoot? I just started shooting, And I fell in love with it from that point on, and then it turned into, hey, Dad, can I get a hoop? And then I'm in the center of the cul-de-sac, so there's no traffic, so I get a hoop right in the center, and now everybody in the neighborhood's coming to play with me, so at my hoop, which is pretty cool.
When Ashley Langford is detaching from basketball, when you're not in Hertz or you're not in Devlin, and you are turning off being a coach, what are you doing?
Some nights I'm so exhausted, right? Because I'm extremely introverted. I don't think people know that, all right? I'm an introverted, but when I'm at work all day, right, I'm coaching, I'm extroverted, right?
Sure.
So I have to really be like recharge. So sometimes I'm exhausted. I literally just sit down and like play Candy Crush. Like I don't have to think about anything. It's mindless. It relaxes me. Some days I watch Netflix. I'm really big into documentaries, so I just like to watch documentaries. If I'm not exhausted and I have some energy, you know, I like to be outdoors. Okay, so hikes. There's not as much hiking here, right? But trails, that kind of thing, being outdoors, hanging out with friends. I'm lucky to have friends that still live in New Orleans from when I went to school here, which is cool. But there's always something to do in New Orleans, whether it's festivals, going out to eat, right? I love crawfish, so when it's crawfish season, that's easy. We're just gonna go eat crawfish, sit on the lake, and enjoy it.
Well, I appreciate the invite in advance to that, Coach. What is the guilty pleasure meal of choice for Coach Langford?
It's a tough one. So I'm pescatarian, right?
Okay.
Which means obviously I only eat seafood.
You are back in the right spot for that.
Exactly. I think it's always gonna be soul food, man. So any type of fried fish, whether that's whiting, right? We get some mac and cheese, we get some greens, we get some cornbread, right? Sweet potato pie. That's right up my alley for that.
What has been the biggest piece of advice you have received from Lisa Stockton about coaching or about coaching at Tulane?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's been a lot of good nuggets. You know, I think she does a really good job of like giving you advice without giving you advice. You don't even realize she's doing it kind of thing. So I remember last year, right, we won the regular season championship and we're heading into our conference tournament. And I call her and I'm like, you know, like you've won this thing before, right? Like what should I be doing? And, you know, how should I go about things? And you know, sometimes you overthink, right? And so call her and she's like, don't ask me. I haven't won in a couple years, right? She just made a joke about it, right? And then she's like, just do what you've been doing, right? Just keep doing what you've been doing. Obviously, it's worked. You know, keep being you. Don't change anything. Just be yourself. And for me, that relaxed me. That gave me the reassurance. And I don't even think that was quote unquote advice, but it was really valuable advice.
The importance of knowing how to deliver a message to a player. How key is that? Everybody's different. Everyone
Right.
takes messages different ways.
Yeah.
Knowing how your student athlete needs to hear something. How big of a adjustment is that for you?
It's crucial, and I don't know if it's really an adjustment because I'm a connection person, period, across the board, especially with our players and our staff. So I have to connect to them in order for us to thrive together. And so I really take the time to get to know them on and off the court. And I think that's how you figure out how they're going to be motivated in the moment when you need to motivate them. I think that's how you figure out what kind of mood they're in, because sometimes, you know, they're not going to be able to receive the information at that time. So maybe I need to wait a little bit and tell them the next day, okay? Or maybe they need a text message later that night, right? Maybe one of our players is a little bit, quote unquote, sensitive, right? Maybe doesn't like when they hear a loud voice, maybe they get triggered by that, right? So maybe I have to go over to them on the side and just say, hey, you know, whatever it is, right? Give them that advice. Some players want me to yell at them, right? That's how they get motivated. So to me, I don't really know if it's me adapting. I think it's just how you have to be as a coach. You got to be able to connect. You got to be able to relate. And I think a lot of it is timing and understanding what your players can receive at that time.
As we pull up onto Ferret here, and we are approaching what I have deemed the old barn on Ferret Street, Fulgaman and Devlin.
Yep.
the first time you walked back into this arena after taking the job, how many memories flooded back to you about playing?
Well, I would say the first thing I thought, because I haven't been in Devlin since it got renovated, right? So I walked in and I'm like, wow, it looks great, but it still looks like Fulham, you know? And I think that's beautiful in itself, that it still looks like the place that I played at. But no, I remember winning a regular season championship and holding up the billboard that says champs, and that's really cool. I remember my senior day, right, getting out there with the jersey. You know, I also remember being the first sporting event post-Katrina, you know, to play in there, you know, in the city. So those were some of the memories that flooded back, but it was really nice to see that it had remained the same, and I could really still see a lot of Fulham, you know, in Devlin still.
You mentioned earlier, right away at the start of our drive here, if you weren't in coaching, you'd be in some sort of corporate America somewhere, right? What is a non-basketball Ashley Langford up to, you think, right now?
You know, I think I'd be an agent, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'd be an agent.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It gets, you know, a chance to still stay close to the athlete. I think I need that. I like that. I like to argue. or we would say healthy debates, right? I like to do that. So, yeah, I think I'd be an agent. It'd be pretty fun.
When fans see your group take the floor on November 7th, now once the butterflies are out of your stomach and that ball's in the air and the play has started and the clock starts running down in that first quarter,
Yeah.
what will fans be seeing from your team?
You're going to see a confident team, I'll tell you that. All right, confident team that's celebrating every little small win that we get on that court. We're going to play with a lot of edge. And to me, that's we're going to be physical. All right, no one's going to play harder than us. And we're going to play with a lot of urgency. And I think that is going to bring a lot of emotion to the game. And for me, I think that's what fans want to see. And they want to be able to connect with that emotion. So we're going to celebrate. We're going to have fun doing it. You're going to see smiles. We're going to put a lot of points on the board as well, because I know everybody wants to see offense.
Everyone always says, like, all right, why can't we play defense? What's going on? But it's always about the points. Everyone needs the points scored. So when everything starts happening on November 7th, how critical is it for you, for your team, for your staff, as you start this new era of Tulane women's basketball, for this fan base to be with you from opening tap all the way through into March?
I mean, it's crucial. You know, the difference that it makes, the energy that it creates. You know, when we've got 2,000 people in Devlin, it's going to be a clear home advantage, right? And
doesn't take a lot to make that building loud.
Not at all. I mean, the fans are sitting right on top of the court, and that's what I love. So, you know, it'll be a clear competitive advantage. And again, we work really hard in practice, and I want our players to be able to show off, right? When it comes to game time, it's like, nah, we're going to show out, and we're going to put on a show, and I want everybody in Devlin to see it, right? Because it is a new era. It's going to be a new swag, new energy, and I really want the city of New Orleans to connect with women's basketball. That's really my goal and vision, you know, for this new era of Tulane basketball, and I really want the city to be active, and that's from the little ones, right, all the way up into the experienced ones. You know what I mean? I want everybody in Fulham, you know, cheering us on.
Well, you still got some work to do here, so I brought you back to the office. Thanks for going for a ride with me here, Coach. And speaking on behalf of a lot of people, I can't wait for November 7th either. I think that you got an absolute an exciting group, an exciting brand of basketball, and boy, it's going to be fun.
No, it is. Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Roll Wave!